and welcome to another evening of frank conversation here on Hard Copy. I'm Maukwe Ogun Yusuf. In the last 1 week, Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, gained some prominence on the news after it was able to successfully wrap up cases of corruption and secure convictions against 2 former governors who were members of the ruling All Progressives Congress and were alleged to have robbed the coffers of their state. Have these trials set the corruption war of President Muhammadu Buhari back on track in the face of allegations that the fight has been slow and one-sided? Well, the jury is still out on that one. This week on Hard Copy, we speak exclusively to a former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal, who was sacked from office following parliamentary and executive investigations into the activities of the Presidential Initiative on the Northeast, where controversy ensued over a so-called grass-cutting contract from which a company, Roller Vision, affiliated with the former SGF, was said to have benefited. It's now over 9 months since he was removed from office, so I began by asking him how he felt about leaving office under such unsavory circumstances. Babachir Lawal, welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you very much.
You've been out of office now for about 9 months or thereabout. Thereabout. How have you felt about your ouster since you left office?
I'm fine. I feel fine. It's a phase that has gone. I'm back to what I know what to do best. My businesses. I was a businessman. I was an IT consultant before and a part-time politician. So that one was just a temporary phase, it turned out, and I'm back to what I know how to do best. I'm doing well.
Some people will say you did not leave unscathed. The circumstances under which you left office, under which you were removed from office, was less than pleasant. How did you feel about that?
No, I don't share their view. First of all, I'm a Christian, and my worldview and my activities are shaped by my Christian beliefs, and I feel that that was God's plan. It was His plan that I became SGF in the first instance, and it was His plan that I left the way I left at the time I left. So it's not for me to bother about it, it's for God to handle what He has destined for me.
Did you feel that you were witch hunted?
Obviously, that is obvious. I feel that I was, but that's be as it may. I'm not bothered about it. It's for the witch hunters to worry about the consequences of their actions, not for me, the victim.
Who was witch hunting you? Who did you feel was witch hunting you?
Well, they were very open. Everybody was, they didn't hide who they were. They were on the television, they were on newspapers, they were everywhere they thought they could be had. Indeed, part of the reason for their success was their open access to the media and the resources they could deploy freely to make their case.
You haven't made any case against anybody. I mean, you talked about the people who were making their case, but if you feel that you are being witch hunted, some people will say that you gave them ammunition. Did you not?
No. Then it won't be a witch hunt. By definition, a witch hunt is when you go out deliberately looking for a victim. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what they set out to do.
But all that they established against you with the investigation of the presidential initiative into the Northeast, was it not credible?
What did the Presidential Committee establish?
We have not been told till date what they established.
Neither have I.
But we know what the Senate was able to establish through their committee.
No, forget about the Senate. What the Senate did was just go on the television, tell lies, say what comes to their minds, and the general public.
They had information.
No,
they did an investigation. In fact, at some point you said that you were not invited.
Yes.
They also invited you as well.
They didn't. But in any case.
But you sent representation, did you not?
No. No. When we talk about the Senate, I really wouldn't want to dwell on this because, as I said, the witch hunters will, in the end, get due reward for their activities. So it's not for me to worry about it. But, you know, 30 minutes will not be enough for me to put my case across. That's not why I'm here. I don't want to put my case across.
Are you not worried about the public perception of the circumstances under which you left office? If you were accused of corruption,
yes,
don't you think that you will want to clear your name? They accused you of having resigned. You said you had resigned when you became SGF from your company, Roller Vision. They accused your company of taking...
They lied, excuse me. They
those
lied.
were the accusations, those were the allegations of taking kickbacks
yes,
for consultation, for clearing grass, I think, to remove invasive species of certain weeds or so
yes,
in the Northeast that had absolutely no bearing on the lives of those who had been affected by the conflict in the Northeast.
Let's establish the ground rules. First of all, the Senate were out to witch hunt. One thing, as soon as I was appointed Secretary to the government, it was announced, I think something maybe on Thursday or so, I can't remember the dates, but I have a friend, a lawyer, very senior lawyer, Abdul Kadir. I called him to my office and said, what next, says, what you need to do, resign from all the companies and hand over to somebody else, and then fill your assets declaration form with the, Code of Conduct Bureau. And he linked me up with somebody in the Code of Conduct Bureau who made the forms available. Same day, I filled the forms. I wrote the letter of resignation addressed to my lawyer, my solicitors, my company lawyers who handle all such things for me. And I wrote them and listed that I've resigned from 16 companies, not one, 16 companies in which I had either directorship and some executive positions. I resigned and forwarded the letter to them and told them to ensure that they had effected the resignations with the Corporate Affairs Commission.
So what did you then make of the accusations of the Senate? I mean, I heard...
Can I repeat what I said? I used the term balderdash. Still, I stick by this balderdash. Nonsense.
But let me quickly put to you what Senator Shehu Sani said. He said that you hurried to quickly go and effect the resignation at the CAC, and that even if you were no longer a part of the board, that you were still a signatory to the account.
Now we come to that. You
were still signing the checks that were coming to the
company. If you had allowed me to come to that, I would come to that in due course. Now, what Shehu Sani doesn't know was that even before then, even though nominally I'm a signatory to the accounts, I never signed checks. Earlier on, when the company was formed in 1990, I used to sign checks, and they used to return the checks as have irregular signature. It appears I'm not able to reproduce the signatures constantly. So I developed this habit of just telling the accountant, sign. Every account the company had this second signatory.
Did that affect you as SGF? I mean, how would they have known the documents that were coming out?
They were not interested.
Originally from the SGF's office, if your signature is not consistent.
Because they are liars. As you said, they were out to witch hunt. That's what I told you.
No, I'm talking about, I mean, being in the office as SGF. Did you have that issue as well with consistent signatures?
I don't sign checks as SGF.
No, I mean, you might not sign checks, but you're signing even more important documents.
Yeah, but I mean, by then I had stabilized my signature. But in any case, the banks do verify signatures before they act on the instrument. In the case of administrative work, I think that facility is not there. So it's not for me to know whether I was having irregular signatures as SGF or not, because nobody ever came back and said, sir, this signature is irregular.
Engineer Lawal, some people will say that there was enough room when the Senate finished their investigation and came up with their interim report for you to have clarified the air, with the outcomes of what they had come up with. Were you not worried about your name being soiled under such circumstances?
Let me tell you, my approach to it was, first of all, let me tell you, yes, there's worry. My only worry really is completely in all of these things. Frankly, my only worry is that it costs other people who didn't know the facts to worry. My friends, my relations, my family members who were not privy to the actual position of issues, the truth or otherwise of the issues being canvassed in the public domain. They were not aware. I knew within my heart, within my mind, within my soul, that these are all rubbish. And I didn't just bother because they were lies. Of course, as a human being, I did worry a little bit that everybody that knows me knows that I'm an anti-corruption fighter. Since I was a small boy, nobody dares offer me or compromise me in any way.
So if you accuse the Senate of lying,
Yeah.
what do you then accuse the Vice President's committee of?
I don't know what the Vice President's committee said.
Were you not invited?
I was invited, but I didn't have their report, so I don't know what they said. I tried to get a copy of their report, which I hoped I was entitled to. But when I asked the Chief of Staff to the Vice President, he said they had only one copy and it had been forwarded to the President. That's what he told me.
The report indicted you?
I wouldn't know. I don't know what the report said.
But eventually it led to your sack?
Let me tell you, what my thinking is that led to my sack. They had already established along the line, which was the main purpose of the witch hunting anyway, that I was very close to the President. I mean, for quite some time. And there was this feeling that I had the President's ear on quite a lot of issues. And of course, I'm a very fierce defender of the interests of the President and the Presidency in total. So it was as if, in a way, I was not the victim. It was the President they were after, and they felt that if they weaken his flanks, like you pick the generals off one by one, then you have an easy say. I had that belief, and most of the information they were posting out was that he's the President's friend. The President will not do anything. Let us see what the President will do because the AGF is his friend. Let us see which anti-corruption he's going to fight.
Yeah, so but if you say, let us see what the President will do, some people will say that it will be in the face of overwhelming evidence against your own guilt, that you had given them sufficient ammunition and you, by your actions through your company, had tied the hands of the President.
What is the ammunition? You are talking in general terms. Let me know
I don't know if you,
yeah,
if you saw this, there was this, there's a rebuttal now attributed to your company, Roller Vision. It was on Premium Time.
Yes.
Is this something you're aware of?
I'm aware that the company, see, in all this, the companies involved, Roller Vision, yes, run by Hamidu,
yes,
was the one being accused of collecting bribes on my behalf.
Where it would seem that you tried to put out your own side of the story as to what happened, what transpired.
No, I told them that, well, gentlemen, this is about you. You are the ones being referred to. I don't have the document they are saying. You put up